And welcome back to the Livingston Parish News Weekly Show, a podcast brought to you by the Livingston Parish News. This is Around Livingston. It's where I, McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news, sit down and discuss what's going on with Around Livingston. With this gentleman here, I'm going to let him introduce himself here on this wonderfully dreary Wednesday morning.
Yes.
Good morning, sir. How are
Good
you?
morning. This is David Gray, news writer with the Livingston Parish News.
All right, let's get into it. First and foremost, the school board's new committee, which is discussing or has been, and apparently the first thing they arrived on is what we're talking about, but they're looking for a way to pay teachers in the parish more.
Yes.
Very interesting. I actually gave the history in the headlines talk to Leadership Livingston yesterday morning. And one of the things that always pops up to me is that in 1992, we had a headline that states Livingston Parish teacher pay surpasses BR and all other parishes in the 9-parish area. Now we're back to the bottom.
Yeah, that is not the case anymore.
So it's a full circle moment, and their proposal is something that people will be voting on. So take it away, sir.
Yeah, we've talked about this a few times over the last few months since the fall. The school board activated its educational facilities improvement district. That is the EFID board, and this is the board that they have the authority to propose taxes to the citizens that could be used to improve the district. And for this specific tax, it is a 1-cent sales tax that is going to be for school system employee salary and benefits. Livingston Parish has been hit, with teacher shortages, employee shortages, just like kind of every other, district or, state has been over the last few years, especially since COVID. That's when this really came to the forefront for a lot. And in Livingston Parish there, the pay has gone down over the years. I mean, you said that's only 30 years ago when you said 1992. So number one, and 30 years later, they are at the bottom in the greater Baton Rouge area. And, a lot of that school leaders have said is because there's not really much funding sources for salaries. So that's why they're proposing the sales tax. And it was approved to go on the ballot last Thursday. So on the March 25th ballot, there will be a 1-cent sales tax up for the vote. That'll be up to the people to get out there and vote. The last election, I can't remember what the exact number was, but it was around 10-ish%, and those were 2 millages that were on the parish-wide ballot, along with a few state constitutional amendments. So, you're going to want to get out there to vote, on March 25th. This is an important one. Joe Murphy, the superintendent, kind of said after the meeting, this is for the future of the system, because right now they're, in crisis mode, they say, and that's kind of been reflected in some of the state scores that have recently come out. The parish, usually is in the top 10. Last year they were top 5, I believe, and this year they dipped to number 11, which, I mean, still isn't terrible, but it is showing, a downward trend. So, and, they're attributing that to the lack of certified teachers. Teachers just coming out of colleges, these recruitment days don't get as much as they used to because, many are just leaving the profession altogether, going to neighboring districts. A lot of teachers from Livingston Parish are going outside to, other districts that are offering more pay. So this is kind of what the school board has come up with to sort of solve that problem. And if this were to pass, they're projecting $24 million a year it would bring in. And like I said, that could only be used for the salaries and benefits of employees. It would boost the teachers' pay in the greater Baton Rouge area to number 1 in Livingston Parish, which is, that they say that will help with recruiting and retention. So that's that's really the big issue that came out of that meeting. It was talked about a lot. 2 people spoke in favor of it. No one spoke against it. So yeah, it was a quieter discussion than I would have expected. But people have kind of been making their thoughts clear on this recently, and they'll definitely be making their thoughts clear on this over the next couple of months as we get ready for this ballot.
Sure, and there are. I do want to bring this up. There are a couple of exemptions, are there not?
Yes. Yeah, that's a good point. Groceries, prescription medicine, and gasoline would be exempt from this. So yeah, those are the ones that would not have any additional tax placed on them. Because a lot of people on fixed incomes, they said, so they didn't want to, add something extra to those necessities like that. But the other ones, all the other stuff, Bass Pro, Driven Cross, most of those places, they would, they would be fall under this tax. So, but I mean, a lot of people, Livingston Parish is compared to the rest of the state has a higher sales tax. So that's one of the things that people have been speaking against. They're one of the top in the I think higher than 83% of the other parishes in the state and 97% nationwide. So, I mean that is something that's can't be ignored. So, like I said, this is up for the people. They will decide whether or not this passes.
So yeah, like you said, I'm sure a lot of people will be making their opinions known, especially with the way social media is these days, over the next few months. But expect that on your March ballot. Getting into, it's interesting. It's kind of turned into I'll believe it when I see it. But DOTD recently announced, and the information we got came from the office of Representative Buddy Mincy Jr., that they would be that was a lot, but DOTD is announcing that they are combining the two projects on Jubin Road into one to try to get it done quicker. Tell us about that.
Yeah, this has been, I was looking up the history, just kind of doing some digging, and I saw a story from you, I think in 2018 or 19, that said this had been in the works since 2014. This project, it has been labeled a project of interest. DOTD had it labeled as far back as 2014. So that just shows how long these things take. But yeah, anyone who drives down Jubin Road toward Highway 190, the traffic gets bad, and that's been under construction for quite some time. The goal is to widen Jubin Road near that intersection, and then add a roundabout at 190 just to sort of speed up traffic. There's been a number of roundabouts added in Livingston Parish in the last few years, and this is one that they would really help traffic in that area. I mean, I was driving down there the other day to get the picture, and coming from the interstates, I mean, hundreds of cars deep. It looked like, I didn't count, but I mean, it stretched back far. But they are technically the two projects, the Jubin Road widening and the roundabout project, were separate projects. They're now going to combine them. They let both of them let for about, it was around 13 million total. But the point of this was not necessarily for to save money, but to save construction time. By combining these, DOTD said it could clear up a year of construction, and so they're hoping that it could be done in the fall of 2024. So I mean, that would be a little less than 2 years from now. But this ran into some issues with construction has kind of stopped for a few months now. That was because the contractor and the state, there was a dispute between DOTD and its contractor with utility relocations. They took a lot longer than they had predicted they would. I believe one time I was listening to Representative Buddy Mincy speak, and the utility relocations took twice as long as they should have. 300 or so days, and ended up being 600 and something days. So, I mean, these things just got really delayed, and then that led to a dispute between the contractor and the state, which during that dispute, all construction was halted. But like I said, that the DOTD said that issue has been resolved. So Mr. Mincy, I spoke with him. He said that he's hoping construction should be able to start pretty soon. Pretty soon is a very vague term, but it's looking better than it was just 2 weeks ago.
Sure. So, like I said, it's one of those believe it when you see it, because yes, this has been in the works since 2014. I remember doing a lot of those stories back from 2018 and 2019 were in regard to the opening of those disputes about utility relocation and that sort of thing. So it would be great for traffic in that area.
Yes.
So everybody keep your fingers crossed, and we'll again believe it when we see it. Quick note, the Livingston Parish School District released their teachers, principals, and students of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Will you run through that for us real quick?
Yeah, they announce these every year around this time. Then they hold a big banquet for all of the winners, usually during the spring, kind of before graduation season kicks off. But yeah, so you have three in each category. One elementary winner, high school winner, and middle school winner. So the students of the year were Adeline Wolf of Jubin Park Elementary, Sadie Foster was the Southside Junior High Middle School Student of the Year, and Sylvia White was the High School Student of the Year from Live Oak. And then for teachers, it was Bryce Larson of Northside Elementary, Tara Himmel, email, I don't know if I never pronounced that name correctly, of North Corbin Junior High, and then Yvette Hill of Springfield High. And the principals of the year were Lauren Kennedy, Juban Park Elementary, Brian Gunner of Westside Junior High, and then Jason St. Pierre of Walker High School.
So congratulations to those principals, teachers, and students of the year from Livingston Parish Public Schools. I am trying to remember it was a story. It was on the bottom left of the front page, and I can
Bridge.
Yes. Thank you. So let's talk about Idell Lane Bridge in Walker.
Yeah, this is just kind of continuing some road improvements for that area, Walker in general, and then for that area specifically that came about after Walker built its new city hall. So at their last meeting, they authorized Mayor Jimmy Watson in an agreement with DOTD, and this is a project that will replace the bridge over Dumpling Creek, and this is on Idell Lane. And there's already a project that should be starting in the beginning of 2023 that'll improve the road from that bridge to Highway 447. So that's a separate project, but this project that was just approved at this last meeting was to replace the bridge itself. Right now it's in the design phase, and they're looking at it costing somewhere between $600,000 and $750,000, though that could change. They're hoping it'll be let at this time next year. But the good thing about this project, it's a 80-20 split. 80% of it will be paid using federal funds, and then the remaining 20% will fall on the city of Walker. But just kind of continuing some improvements in the area, just kind of help traffic get in and out a little easier, since, like you said, that's the new side of the new city hall. So they want to make sure it's easier for citizens to get there.
Sure. So, I know that a lot of those old bridges in Walker really for the past 10 years have been a subject of much discussion. So good for them for being able to find yet another way to get one of those no guardrail, basically some concrete, or in some cases they still had wooden bridges going over those creeks.
It is a timber bridge.
Yeah, and those creeks are deep, so it's kind of interesting. At any rate, thank you, sir. We appreciate it if you introduce yourself.
It's David Gray, news writer with the Livingston Parish News.
And my name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. Appreciate you guys out there for joining us for the Livingston Parish News Weekly Show. This is Around Livingston. It's where I sit down and talk with David about what's going on around Livingston. Please remember the news is on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. We are once a week in print on Thursday. That's $7 a month to get that in your mailbox. We're also online, www.livingstonparishnews.com. We appreciate you joining us, and we'll see you next time.